Hi guys, welcome back. Tommy here with another Starcraft Remastered. So it's not remastered, of course. We still have the bad graphics here onto this channel, as I have difficulties with the internet connections. But we are back on the South Korean ladder in July 2025, where we have a very interesting engagement here in between the two pros. As we have spawned here in the lower right, in the white, it is BISHOPJULY. I don't think it's Julie Zerg. I just think it's an AK here from another pro. Perhaps Bishop, could it be? If maybe you guys know better than me. And here in the upper left we do have a AK also from another pro FDSS. So I really have no idea who this player is, but both of them very high APM into the early game. So it should be a very good game played on the ladder. Of course, many good replays from the ladder in South Korea onto this channel. So yeah, it's a 4 spawning location map. We will have a look at the build orders very soon, just like we do in previous replays. We see it open up here by the Terran, who is actually indicating to us that he's walling it very early. So he might go for a command center first. It seems that the command center first is the new meta here for the Terrans. Let's just see if this is indeed going to be his build order or no. He's actually going for a barracks first. In the meantime, the Zerg seems to be saving for a expansion very soon. A overload has been produced, and there's the expansion here for the Zerg. So we have overload into expansion for the Zerg, and we have a normal build order here for the Terran, who is walling off, playing very safe and very macro oriented, even though as you can see from the timer, it is around the 17 minute mark of a game. But yeah, like I told you, it should be a very good one here, as most pros do come from South Korea, of course. So yeah, we should have a very good game here in between them. Sorry, the expansion is up. I believe both players will start very soon to scout the map. The overload almost making it up here into the upper right part. We do have the spawning pool with gas here for the Zerg. As the Terran actually decided not to expand the map, he's actually walling off. So playing very safe, very defensively here for the Terran. I believe he's going to try to glitch somehow outside, either that or he's expecting an early attack by the opponent. So very cautious gameplay here by the Terran, who is expecting a Zergling attack. Maybe they did play previously and the Terran was surprised by a Zergling attack. So now nicely walling off here. Of course, it's going to be impossible for the Zerglings to pull in forward. Finally, in comes the drone, will take some damage. Sees that the way is pretty much shut. So with that, I believe he's going to go into his tier 2, or is he... Now remember, the Terran is still blind. He doesn't know what exactly the build order from the Zerg is. He is playing very defensively. I believe it suits him really well. He's going to very likely go into some engineering way with some turrets. Perhaps Goliaths could also be a very interesting idea, as Flash has shown us onto this channel that Goliaths can indeed be very strong versus the Zerg. But we do have an academy here, nice hidden academy by the Terran. So it looks like it's going to be Marines indeed. There's the second barracks. It could also be a timing push by the Terran. Could be a possibility, of course. Still Marines early on, very strong with range as well. Weapons 1 if possible. So yeah, let's just see if it's going to be a timing push. In the meantime, the Zerg still on 2 bases. His tier 2 is about to get finished. We are very likely going to be seeing some mutilists by him. And yeah, the game continues. One SCV has somehow made it here out and is going straight for the main expansion here for the Zerg. A nice wall up here by him. Eggs also give good cover. So yeah, in comes the SCV, but it is very likely going to be surrounded by the Zerg and snap. Let's just see what's going to happen. A very nice move here by the Zerg indeed, and the SCV gets snapped. So yeah, the Terran is still blind, has no satellite here, has to keep on guessing, of course, what exactly the strategy is going to be here by the Zerg. But we do have indeed a Spire. So yeah, many Zergs really like to go into that Spire versus the opponent. There is the Zergling. He sees so many Marines on the ground, but he didn't see the second factory, and there is even a fire bat. So it looks like indeed a timing push here, even we have one medic. Let's see what this first push can do. The Zerg sees now the move out. I believe speed for the Zerglings might have been done. I'm sorry, I don't really recognize, but we we do have this fire bat here in the back, nicely guarding the base here. We have Steam on the way. Steam is finished now. And in comes the attack against the Zerg. Spire is about to get finished. He might be forced to go into some sunkens. Indeed, there's his sunkens as the first wave of Marines is moving forward with Stim. So the first sunken immediately getting target here. A very nice move here by the Terran. He has to out-micro the sunkens and wait for his reinforcements. He's now getting surrounded. Still has Stim. The medic is doing a great job defending and repairing, actually healing all of those bio from the Terran. At the same time, this could also be a good possibility here for him to attack. But yeah, in comes the Zerg, and he's really trying to he's really trying to surround the units here from the Terran. In the meantime, it was a good push here by the Terran, showing his presence, forcing one sunken out, perhaps even forcing more production of a Zerglings. But now we do have indeed the mutilies that are moving forward, and with this force the Zerg could surround the units from the Terran and take them out quite easily. But a little bit of impatient gameplay here by the Zerg as he's moving forward. A great micro here indeed by the Terran, but now in come the mutilisk, so the firebat has to be brought out of danger very soon. And yeah, let's have a look at the base. There are some turrets here for the Terran, so he should be fine as the main force. The mutilisk are now pouring forward here for the Zerg. Let's have a look at the upgrades. Sorry about that. We have 0-0 here for him. Weapons 1, flyer attacks is about to get finished here for the Zerg. Let's just see if he's going to be able to snap some SCVs. We have 39 SCVs already here for Bishop versus the 30 for the Zerg. Yeah, and slowly but steadily we move towards the 10-minute mark. So of course it's still anyone's game. The Marines are out. We have many barracks here for the Terran, now even going into a factory. So it could be another timing push, this time with some tanks, with some Goliaths. I believe tanks will be chosen here for the Terran. Let's check the Zerg once again. Should stay into his mutilisk gameplay. Nothing is getting produced, so he might even go into a tier 3 very soon to have some defilers. Defilers, of course, the perfect counter towards those Marines. And yeah, still no abusive gameplay here by the Terran, by the Zerg. Even losing one mutilisk in the air, so quite a hard time for him to move here forward. Of course, so many defenses here for the Terran. Even the main production buildings are nicely defended, and this mineral line here as well. Perhaps this could be a weak spot, but very hard to move here forward against so many turrets. So yeah, good defense here by the Terran, good defense by Bishop. The Zerg still patrolling the map, having good vision. Let's check his main once again, still staying on tier 2 and still producing mutilisk, but we also have a Hydralisk then for him, so it could be a transition very soon into some lurkers. Hydralisk, I believe, yes indeed, the lurkers will of course try to counter the masses, the biomasses here from the Terran. In the meantime, good sniping here by the mutilisk, but he also takes some casualties, so fair trade as we very soon will close towards the 10-minute mark. And it's still mass mutilisk gameplay here for the Zerg, and perhaps a little bit of a miss micro here, miss rally point by him. It happens, of course. And yeah, mass Marines. Let's have a look. Is there weapons 1 done? Yes indeed. So range should also be done. We also have +1 damage here for the mutilisk. A great micro here for the Zerg, taking the wounded mutilisk in the back, and now just pretty much out microing a little bit the Terran. But yeah, the Terran with all of those Marines having also good control of the middle of the map, as the reinforcements are nicely pulling here forward. Here, so many barracks at home. Some Zerglings are also moving here forward. I believe the Zerg is trying to buy time indeed for his tier 3 to finish. So it looks like we're going to be having a transition into some lurkers with some defiler gameplay. We might even see some ultralisk here, as there's so much more getting produced. We do have some scans now for the Terran, even SCV is scouting the map. And yeah, lurkers it is indeed going to be. So yeah, there's the reaction by the Terran. We have a facility, a science facility bay for him, with 2 starports actually here for him, and yet another barracks. So pretty much mass bio for him versus those Zerglings and those mutilisk in the air. And yeah, here we have evolution chamber, some upgrades here much needed for the Zerg. We do have another engagement here, so it's a nice cat and mouse play here, but both with a very good micro. Some units do get sniped, as we have 51 workers already here for the Terran. So the Zerg, sadly for him, not really making an impact towards the economy from his opponent, as he's very likely going to go for some more important units. And yes, indeed, there it is. There's the Defiler mount, a much needed late game unit for the Zerg. A very good unit indeed to have with the Dark Swarm versus all of those Marines. So now the Terran has to make up his mind. Is he going to expand, play it safe, or is he going to attack? I believe he very likely knows what is coming there. We even have some lurkers. He needs to be careful. So much splash damage could be taken. A good micro here by him, as he's very likely waiting for some tanks with some science vessels here to irradiate all of those units from the Zerg. So good presence here by the Zerg, not really allowing the macro game from the opponent. I believe the science vessel could be sniped here. The Zerg needs to be careful. He's very close towards those Marines. The Marines are pretty good spread at a bloodbath here happening. So much damage is being taken, but in the end, the Terran looks very, very healthy here. However, the second wave from Zergs are coming here forward. So now the Marines pretty much have to be kited back and forward to avoid the shots for the lurkers. So a very good engagement here by the Zerg, but he also took some damages. Lots and lots of lurkers have been sniped, as the reinforcements are now straightly pouring here forward for the Terran. And does he have some tanks? He's actually only going for some science vessel with Marines. So this is the unit composition for him. No intentions to go for some tanks against some ground units from the opponent, as the Terran just keeps on pushing forward with his upgraded Marines. 1-1 upgrades for him. Let's check the Zerglings very quickly. 0-0 for him. I believe 1 weapons was done for the Mutants, as we also have carapace for him. So the Zerg tries to find a good position. He's going to try to lure the Terran forward, and very likely he's going to try to surround him somehow from the back. Either that, or he's going to try to intercept the reinforcements from him. So pretty smart decision, but yeah, he needs defenses at home. He has one Defiler. It's coming, tries to come in from the back. The Terran still undecided, just going forward with his science vessel, just trying to detect the lurkers, try to evade those scourges. A little bit of miss micro here by the opponent, as one Dark Swarm might get casted very soon by him. So the Zerg still waits for the reinforcements. The Terran units very, very far out, taking out some good important units here, even getting the Zerg supply blocked, as he might even try to attack this location. There are no lurkers here, so that's very good for the Terran. Sees the Nidus Worm, immediately takes it out. So Marines very strong with their upgrades here, and the Mutants here still in the middle of the map, trying to make up their mind. A good spread here by the Terran, losing however one science vessel. Lots and lots of reinforcements here, as some did get taken out, but the huge wave once again is happening here for the Terran, as he's nicely spreading his units, waiting for his reinforcements. This could be a good intercept by the Zerg, but there's also many science vessels. They might even get irradiated on themselves in order to push back the Zerg. We do have a Defiler defense now, as the science vessels have arrived here, and lots and lots of irradiance will be cast at a pretty good position here by the Terran, but he might get surrounded very soon from the back. However, the reinforcements exactly on time here for the Terran. The lurkers, however, are doing a great job. Dark Swarm also very on point here for the Zerg. So with that, I believe he should be able to hold. In the meantime, however, some medics made it here forward with a science vessel, so no irradiance trick here for the Terran, as he's very likely going to be snapped very soon by some scourges. So that could have been very deadly with some irradiance onto your own science vessel, but yeah, in the end the Terran was very busy microing his Marines and his science vessel. He should be able to take out this important newly established base from the Zerg. So yeah, it's still a very balanced game, as the units here will be very likely sniped very soon. Just a couple of Zerglings immediately will be taken out. Reinforcements are moving forward, this time with some fire bats, and 2 weapons upgrade already been done, as now the scourges, massive investment here for the Zerg for those scourges. Of course, he knows how strong those science vessels can be into the late game, as we do once again have a regroup here by the Terran, as he's pushing now forward towards the Zerg. So let's see how this is going to work. A little bit of a miss micro here with his scourges. The Marines could of course take them out, as the reinforcements are pouring here forward. Once again, a great spread here by the Terran, as now he's going for important buildings from the Zerg, straight for this one hatchery. The reinforcements are on time. The Marines aren't paying attention here, so he might take great amount of splash damage, but in the end the reinforcements exactly on time, and sadly here for the Zerg is going to be able to lose so many of those drones. So good move here by the Terran, spreading his units, taking out more workers, as the Zerg has dropped now to 35 workers. So very hard game for him. The Terran now showing his presence, being able to snap his expansion. Is the Zerg somehow going to be able to come back here? He might be lucky to snap the SCVs here. And yeah, with a couple of Zerglings, a group of Zerglings, of course, some mutants in the air, because the expansion right there is not really defended. Actually, it's not defended at all. So yeah, the Firebat doing a good job here versus the Defiler. And yet another expansion is going to fall here for the opponent. So yeah, pretty good position here for the Terran, as he even has the high ground now versus the opponent. And yeah, with that the Zerg pretty much decides to leave the game. So very good positional gameplay here by the Terran. A nice defense by him, and in the end the attack was the best defense for him, as this expansion right here pretty much undefended. A new list one has been established here. Great scans go out. Some Marines somehow made, some Firebats somehow made it here, even forward towards the expansion. And I believe that was the GG. Could this have been a drop? Yes, indeed, we did have a drop. So I completely missed this one. So a great move by the Terran. Let's have a look a little bit at it again. So I completely missed this one. Sorry about this. Let's have a look. I believe 2 Firebats might have been sniped, but they have done their job. So yeah, just check that one out. Sorry. Even now I can't see. Yeah, there it is. And only 2 Firebats into this one. So the 2 Firebats might have done the trick here for the Terran. "36 workers here for the Zerg." Let's just see what the Firebats have done here. Very good move here by the Terran. Double attacking once here and here as well, and even those Marines here. Let's have a look what the Firebats can do here. There's a Zergling, and as he saw that, he immediately left. Of course, the Lurkers would have been able to take care of the Firebats, but with Stim, they would have taken out so many drones, at least 6 before dying. So a very smart move, a great end game move here by the Terran. And yeah, the second drop would have been even more deadly. Let's just check the stats very quickly in case you guys are interested. Very good game here by both players actually, but in the end the Terran proving to be, his macro game was pretty much on point. The defense early on was very good. He was expecting a Zergling attack, but yeah, he pretty much walled off and just went into mass bio, even pushed out, showing his presence. So very nicely calculated game by him. The Zerg, sadly for him, his Mutus gameplay didn't deal any damage towards the economy, and yeah, that's pretty much very bad for you as a Zerg. He did snipe a couple of Marines and so on, but in the end the economy from the Terran hasn't been touched. And yeah, with that, of course, the Terran having the advantage into the middle game, into the late game, and taking this game quite convincingly, going into mass science vessels. So no Goliaths for him, no tanks. Science vessel did the job. Irradiance on point. Good micro for both players, but yeah, in the end, Terran macro game, of course, much stronger than the Zerg. Even though the Zerg had some defilers, he didn't have the masses to counter the Terran. Let's not forget that the Terran also went for so many Firebats. So the Firebats, of course, to counter the Dark Swarm units into the Dark Swarm. So yeah, good game here from the South Korean ladder. I'm going to try to cast as many games as possible from the ladder. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.